I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room, and I can assure you that, because otherwise my story would have not been from Dunkin' Donuts to successful trader. It could have been from engineer to successful trader, doctor to successful trader. But what if I told you that precisely that reason is why I am a consistent profitable trader? Because I trade like an idiot. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video here today. We're going to remove everything that you know about trading, throw it into the bin, and start from scratch with a simple approach that anybody, even an idiot, can literally learn and become successful with. And you're going to stick to this approach until you are consistently profitable with this approach, until then you can add new things. Very simple. It's like learning a new language. In order for you to speak the Mandarin language fluently, you would first need to learn the lettering. You would first need to learn how to pronounce the words, then how to read sentences, and then how you can have a fluent conversation after some time that you have practiced it. You have to strip everything down to the bone and learn from scratch the correct way. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video here today. And the main reason why this approach works is because it is extremely simple and people simply overlook it. This is literally one time frame, one setup, one entry rule, and one session. That is it. And I'm going to break down how you guys can use this right now. The problem why people don't succeed with this is because they overcomplicate it with information overload. It's like, oh, well, if this time frame says this, what about this time frame? And what about the news events? And what about the cross-pair correlation? And what about this strategy's entry signal? And what about this? They have too much information, and they want to have this external information affect this one simple approach. Trading like an idiot, you don't take any of that into account. You just trade for that one simple approach and stick to it, and that's it. I can't stress to you how many times I've reviewed traders' trades, and they love adjusting their stop loss. They love having extra confirmations into their position for no reason that they can explain. They love to close their trades early. They love to have negative risk rewards. They love to have everything that literally works against them in order for them to become a profitable trader, because they have learned all of this external information that could potentially work for other strategies if they were to just stick to one, but they're bringing this external information to a functional strategy because it is too simple and they're overcomplicating it, and that is why they're not successful, because they're adding external strategies to a working strategy because they can't fathom how simple the strategy is going to be. Now, step one into learning this strategy that I'm about to break down in this video, we can call it the idiot strategy that simply works. Step one is going to be, do not get shiny object syndrome. Yes, you need to be aware and conscious that there is tens of different, if not hundreds, thousands of different strategies out there, different entry signals, different trading approaches, different takes profit stock. There's everything that is different, and you need to accept that and be okay, and don't get shiny object syndrome when you don't find an opportunity with this specific approach at the specific day that you want to trade. All you need to do with step one is not get distracted with these other strategies that are out there in the market. Be aware that they're there, but you have your own strategy. It's like if you were to get a brand new car, you just got a new car yourself. Yes, there's 1,000 different models out there, but those don't matter. What matters is the one that you have, and you need to stick to it. So what is this car of yours that you just got, you may ask, that you should not have any eyes for any other cars on the road? Well, this is going to be the simplest approach that you can possibly have. It's going to be one pair, one time frame, one session, and one entry signal. That is it. If you have these four concepts in order for you to enter a position, you're going to be trading like an idiot. You're going to have the simplest approach in the market, and I can nearly guarantee you, you will be more successful than 99% of the traders that go on YouTube and try to build a Frankenstein of a strategy with all of this information that they know, because they simply don't know how to put it all together, and it just won't work. The more things you throw at the chart doesn't mean the more money you're going to make. The simpler you trade, the more money you're going to make, because you have one specific approach that repeats itself time and time again. There's a consistency in this approach. So I'm about to break this down right now for you guys. This is the one strategy that you're going to get married with until you're having small, consistent results. Then you can start improving things for larger trades, larger take profits, and other options in the market. But you need to have something that works at the core no matter what. And if you don't want to change it or add a different strategy, you don't have to. You can 100% just stick to this. This is more than enough. Let me break it down for you guys. So moving on to the first step of the actual strategy is picking the first step, which is the pair. So this step is a bit subjective to how you like to trade. So there's obviously tens, hundreds, thousands of different markets that you can pick to trade from. And the first step is picking one of these markets, and you need to get married to that one market, not get the shiny object syndrome, see another market that's having a crazy move and then have this same approach to then that market. Can that work? Yes, but that is not your focus right now. You need to stick to one market, one session, one time frame, and one entry signal. So there's many different markets out there. You obviously have markets like gold, for example, which they tend to be extremely volatile and they have very fast moving pairs, but also quite heavily influenced by the fundamentals. You have the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is also very heavily influenced by the fundamentals, but market is trading kind of at all-time highs. There's a lot of uncertainty. Might not make the most sense to trade there. It might. It really depends what it makes the most sense for you. Then you have other exotic pairs like Euro AUD, which these pairs move quite fast, very strong pip value moves. And there's tens of different of markets just like Euro USD. There's tens of different of markets just like gold, for example, that are very volatile. You could trade gas, you could trade oil. There's just different markets that you can pick from. And this really comes down to what type of trader do you want to be? You want to be a higher time frame trader? Want to be a lower time frame trader? You want to have very volatile moves that are influenced by the fundamentals? Would you rather have moves that just move based off of patterns and what you're seeing in the chart in front of you? For me personally, what makes the most sense is trading off of patterns that are happening right in front of you and not having anything external influence significantly my trade. So that's why if I were to have to pick one market out of all of these markets right here that are in the markets, it would be Euro USD. Euro USD might be slower moving in terms of pips, but I can get great risk to reward and it's extremely predictable patterns. It's the most volatile in terms of liquidity traded market in the world. So the cost to take trades on this market are very low. There's very low spreads, very low commissions. It's just a very cost-effective market to trade. And it would be the market that I would pick from, for example, based off of my experience. And personally, this is the market that I recommend to any beginner that is their first time taking a trading approach like this, because again, it's the simplest, most cost-effective, and you will have yourself seeing these patterns happening very frequently. So I recommend this to any beginner. Now, moving on to the next step of the strategy is the actual time frame. So as you guys know, same way how there's tens of different of markets out there to trade from, there's tens of different of time frames to trade on, which is quite interesting, this cross correlation, because you could look at the exact same markets in many different scopes. You could look at it with a big scope view. You could zoom in up to every single second that the market were to have a tick from. You could really zoom in as close as the 1 second market, which really is quite unnecessary. You don't need to look at every single second close of the market, every single minute, which really makes no sense. And you can look as far as every single 12 months, where every single candlestick takes an entire year to build, which is quite excessive. And at the beginning, for any trader, this could be quite complex because what you're taught, and which is the more experienced and advanced way to trade, is trading all of these time frames in correlation, which is what's called top-down analysis, which, by the way, we have one of those videos that we break it down on this video. If you want to see it, just hit that like and subscribe button so you guys can watch many other videos just like this one. But top-down analysis is how you trade all of these time frames together, which is a different approach, which is more advanced, and it's not what this video is about. This video is picking one time frame only, which keeps things a lot simpler and will probably even make you more successful because you would just have a very specific approach time and time again. So the higher the time frame you are, keep in mind that the longer the move would take. The lower the time frame you are, the quicker the move you will have. The problem is, the higher the time frame, the stronger the confirmation. The lower the time frame, the weaker the confirmation. So these things compensate each other a bit in terms of balancement. So would you rather have slower moving pairs but better confirmation of winning, which you might take one trade a week if that? Or would you rather have high-paced trades but more high probability of you taking losses? So you might take 3 or 4 trades a week, but you might win 2 and then win 1, and that 1 that you win makes back both those losses plus a little more. There's different ways on how to balance this scale, and what I found to be the perfect time frame to trade on one specific pair would be the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame is that perfect medium from the higher time frame and that lower time frame, where you get that stronger confirmation, but you can also still get that high pacing move where within the session you can have multiple candlesticks close. So the second step would be picking a time frame. You can pick, again, any one of these time frames.